It's like you're walking towards Panera Bread. It's the only hallway that's on the right-hand side when you're going toward Panera. You just follow that hallway down. You should see a sign on the wall, on the hallway that says Anticoke, which I am very bad at saying.
Yeah.
But should be accessible that way. With that said,
The first room I ever reserved here was this room.
iconic. See,
Yeah.
and here I am reusing it. Thank you, Lizzie. Y'all give me just one extra second. I just gotta find. Oh,
The joys of hybrid meetings.
that's the one. That is the one. I know I sent out November. No, I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's one except for the office.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah, that's why I had it open. I was like, why do I have October open? Who did I hurt?
Looking for the end. I appreciate it.
Yeah, they pick everything right.
All right.
All right, friends, colleagues, I know that we're already recording. Just know that the recording doesn't start until we like officially gavel in. So you don't have to worry about your side conversations being captured. But if your side conversations are captured, maybe just make sure you like saying that then it's gonna be awful. I thought we were recording, but you know what? Let me double check. You're not seeing, oh, I'm seeing recording, so maybe it's like client side.
Yeah.
But, and of course, it's not gonna load because I am at UMD and it doesn't want to, so.
Your end was the best.
Edgerome likes to play games with my heart. What I'm gonna ask everyone to do is really quickly, if you are in the Mentimeter, and again, I feel like it's probably important to press this in there. If you're in the Mentimeter right now, what you're gonna see is the quorum. We have a number that is new that we need to get to. That number is 21. I love blackjack. If you can get us to 21, that means we'll be able to do some actions today. If you can't, that means we have to do all the stuff that's left on the agenda in December. So please don't. Please, 21 or more people. If you're in the Zoom, you're in the room, if you're vibing, go ahead and give that little click. There's only one option. Can you guess what it is? It's present. Because if you're not present, you probably can't, you're not pressing the button. So it'd be like that. Yeah, and if you can't access it, it'll be menti.com. That is MENTI.com. And you'll use the code that's right there at the top of the screen, 66186767. That'll give you access to all of the votes for today.
Oh.
Yeah, blackjack. That's what we like to see. Okay, so.
Am I supposed to quote at 4?
Yeah, go, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh, it's actually very quiet today.
I don't know, it's like we're only hearing from.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are hearing from them.
No, we're hearing from this. There's, yeah, I was about to say, it's always something technical anyway. Would anybody on the Zoom like to speak up now? Thank you, Nora.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me? Did
Yes, we
Nianta
can.
make it?
Yes.
Yay.
Thank you for checking in on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like I know that it gets said a bunch. Please feel free to ask the executive board whenever you're missing or you need some help with something. We try to be around, and by we, I mean everybody else, because sometimes I'm chaotic, but that's neither here nor there.
Ivy says that and is also one of the most failed. So don't listen to what they say.
I try. But that said, we have 27. 27 is a perfectly fine number. It's actually a number so fine that this meeting, the November meeting of the GSG Assembly, is now called to order. Amazing. I've been wanting to use this app so long, I have no idea. But that's what I get for occasionally being in another state. Like, what's my deal, right? In either event, we have a few different items to get to. I want to go ahead and start with the simplest of those items, which is the consent agenda. For today, what you're going to see is me switching between presentations. Do not be surprised by that. This will still be active. This code, everything that is in, if you're in Zoom, everything that you see, it will still be active even when you don't see it on the screen. If you need access to it or somebody comes in late and needs access, please feel free to chime in. With that said, I'm gonna briefly pause and swappity doodly.
We want to do a consent agenda before swearing in.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me go ahead and.
I guess it's
actually-
fine, 'cause it doesn't matter.
Right. It's a little bit of the chaos at the moment, I guess. Let me go ahead and I literally just have this open. What the heck? That's what I get for doing.
You know,
Oh, look, it's all the way over here. Oh my goodness, y'all.
Sleep at some point.
At some point, I will sleep. I'll share context when we are not on time. See, and the gavel doesn't even do anything, right? Let me just double check here. So the first thing on the agenda is always the approval of the minutes. These are the October 2025 agenda minutes. If you are a member, you got these minutes in full in your agenda packet. As part of this month's agenda, we do that.
Hi,
because-
Tony. This is Marcos. How are you doing?
Yes. Hello,
I'm
Marcos.
doing fine. I just am about to do my first commercial renewal with Allied. Oh, sorry.
Oh. Hello? You good? Might want to mute. There you go. Oh, you're good. So as part of the agenda for the meeting, we need consent of the body. Yeah, everybody have a little chuckle. That you are fine, Marcos, really. I'm just a chaotic person and that felt like an addition. If anyone has any adjustments to the minutes, this is the time to do it. You can raise these adjustments at any time with any of the motions that are on your screen or any of the other motions that you see. But if there are no adjustments, I tend to wait about, don't laugh at me, e-board, about 8 seconds is about the time that I wait. And after a while, if I hear silence, you will hear me say that we have consent for this agenda. Does anybody have any adjustments to the minutes for October of 2025? Gosh, 2 different months in the same thing, October 2025. Sorry. Zoom people, I'm also going to keep you up on the screen, comments wise, when I can. But seeing that, we have consent approval of the meeting minutes for October. Thank you so much. You're so dope. Report of the chair. This is a pretty simple thing. There's not going to be that much for me because there's a bunch of other stuff going on. I want to make sure that I keep you aware of advocacy. I am still contacting you as much as I can about things that are coming up, especially when it comes to assembly. Be aware of how our agenda has changed. This is probably the biggest deal. I told the executive board, I told GAC and a few other committees this, and I'm now telling the entirety of the assembly. If you have any questions, you can ask me via email. But the long and the short of it is we are going to try to keep from publishing names relevant to the debates that we have in GSG. This is intended to give you all the opportunity to get full minutes so that you know that you have a record of our assembly actions, and also to give you the opportunity to lock in whether or not you think a particular item is really important, or maybe you have a passionate point of discussion that you want to bring before the assembly. I don't want to put your name next to that and then risk you, risk the assembly, risk our campus. So that is a policy that the e-board was very content with. It's not unlike what we do generally. I just want to let you know, you are going to get different things than what I send to the general population. The general population gets an agenda with fewer names, fewer exact dates and details. Y'all get everything that you need to make an informed decision. Any questions on that front? Okay, with that said, I'm also going to give some time over to Keegan. Keegan is going to be the person that is doing the swearing in, because I think we were still waiting on a few people.
Yep.
He has the text of the swearing in this session. I am not posting that text because we are going to kind of move through it. So if you are a new person, you're really welcome to raise your right hand. If you are available to put your camera on, that is perfectly fine. It really helps. But otherwise, Keegan has the floor.
Yeah, and as I shared with some of you already, rather than try the chaos of having people repeat back on Zoom and also in person, which just sounds like a nightmare, what we're instead gonna do is I am going to read out this oath. You're gonna have your hand in the air. And if at any point you disagree with what I'm saying and don't wanna agree to that part of the oath, lower your hand. And then that's that, and we'll say farewell and you have a great rest of your day. But that's gonna be the easy way to do this, I think. Unless we have any strong objections from the crowd, which I'm not even gonna give 8 seconds for that one. Okay, so if you are new, online or here, please raise your right hand and do not repeat after me. In the presence of honored guests and members here assembled, I do solemnly promise and pledge that I will faithfully execute the duties of the assembly as a program representative of the graduate student government to the best of my knowledge and ability. To commit myself to the student government's code of ethics, to further the objectives of the student government, to serve my fellow graduate student community through engagement with my constituents and voting according to the preferences of my constituent body. No one lowered their hand, so that's good. By the authority vested in me in the graduate student government, I now proclaim you duly installed as program representatives and voting members of the graduate student government assembly.
Welcome in. We're excited to have the people that are here, the people who have, Andre, I deeply love that you raised your hand literally with the Zoom emote. Amazing. With that said, thank you so much, Keegan, and thank you so much to all of our new members. As I said, this adjusts our quorum. Every time that you come into a meeting, you do not have to worry about knowing how many people are there. As y'all have probably seen, I'm a little bit overzealous. So I will make sure that you know, and even if I'm like 2 minutes behind, Lizzie tends to catch what. So a little bit of awareness there for you. The report of the chair again is truncated because GSG has a few policies that directly correlate to board reports. I'm going to be very intentional about this. I'm also going to be very quick. So governance board did not have a report. I didn't get anything. Also, that board may be trying to figure out, we'll talk about this later, what it looks like to do their work, or what work they may be able to assist in. We're still working on that, just making sure that y'all know we didn't have a board report that was expected from the governance board today. We'll move forward. Committee board reports. The executive board is always given the time to do their board reports. And I don't need to do that because guess what? It's not my deal. Yes, also, if you were in Zoom, Nora is the keeper of all things good. Trust their judgment, please. Yeah, please put your in parentheses next to your name. Go ahead and put your program code. With that said, I have an order to this madness that I have to go in. Forgive me this time, but I'm actually going to start with Keegan for an executive address to the assembly if he feels one is necessary. Keegan.
Yeah, so we have these microphones that we're not actually,
Yeah.
probably should do
There you go.
Zoom purposes. Okay. Oh dear. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, so I am gonna try to keep it brief, because we do have a tremendous amount of stuff to do. First of all, genuinely welcome to our new members. Some of you are returning faces, lovely to see you again. For those of you who are truly new, as Ivy already mentioned, the executive board is always happy to answer questions. I know that it can be disorienting to show up halfway through, most of the way through a semester and just be suddenly thrown into everything. We will do our best to help you through that. Please do not be afraid to ask us questions. We don't bite any of us, I promise. Well, maybe Lizzie, but
There you go.
so yes, with that said, there are a few points I want to quickly share. I'm gonna start with the not great news first that we just kind of need to get out of the way because you should all know about the situation we're in. So yesterday I was in meetings all day, as is my tradition at this point. One of the meetings I was in was the Joint Council meeting of the University System of Maryland. So I imagine you all know we're in a difficult financial situation. It's real bad. Just to rip Band-Aid off, we are looking at a statewide $1.7 billion deficit by 2027, and that is expected to expand to $3.1 billion in 2031. Right now, we are looking at 43.4 million loss in research funding across the University System of Maryland, and estimates, low ball estimates, put it at 100 million, maybe 200 million within the next few years. So I don't say this to scare everyone, although that may also accomplish it because I am also feeling like, oh, time to get out, right? But I do want everyone to know that that is what the financial situation is right now and what we're facing. And it will probably be an ongoing topic for all of your constituents that you'll hear about often, and we certainly are. It's the thing we discuss pretty much every time we meet with the administration. So with that in mind, we are working on getting a list of resources together, be that financial, food, medical, etc. We do have a link on the website already. That is the beginnings of that. But if you hear of any resources, especially because this is a very large campus and it's very decentralized, and different programs in schools have different things that they're doing, and we do not necessarily know about all of them, please do let us know, specifically let Lizzie know what those programs are so we can add them to the website. And if you personally have any issues, or you or one of your constituents reaches out to you, and there's an issue, financial or food or visa or whatever else, and you cannot solve it, let us know. We may not also be able to solve it, but we have a better chance than most. We do have a strong network of alliances and relationships that we've built with various departments and administrators throughout the years, and we can get things done unofficially. So please do reach out if you need help. And if you know anyone else who needs help, who may be unwilling or nervous about reaching out. The other thing I wanted to mention that is sort of related is we will soon be doing, and by soon I mean the beginning of next semester, a executive town hall. where basically we're gonna send out a survey, hopefully before the end of this semester, asking you and also every other member of the grad student body, what some pressing issues are that they feel like GSG should be focusing on. Because obviously the assembly sets our agenda, but also we want to hear from our constituents directly, and also give people information on what the executive board and what the assembly is working on and how we're addressing issues that come up. So multi-purpose there. What I would love to hear from the assembly going into that is, what do you individually as representatives feel like we should be doing if we aren't already doing it? What ideas do you have? We do have resources. So if you have ideas, bring it up to the committee, bring it up with us directly. And we will be happy to work with you, more than happy, frankly. We're definitely looking for any help we can get. Otherwise, again, thank you all for being here in person. I appreciate it, especially given that we have some special guests today that are worth being in person for. And with that, I'm gonna see the remainder of my time, whatever that may be, back to the chair.
You absolutely, like, we're right at time, so 11 out of 10. There are a few other, 11 out of 10, yeah, or you're right. But, the next thing we're gonna do is real quick, you are gonna hear a lot from Sydney, which is why things are a little out of order. Sydney will have the floor. Y'all will get to see Sydney today. Micheline, do you have anything for the body?
The only thing that I have is that, anybody who's new, please reach. Anybody who's new, please reach out to me, look at the different committees that we have on the website, because every representative on the assembly, should be in, at least one committee. So, reach out to me, through the committee's email to let me know which one you would like to be part of. If you don't reach out to me soon, I will reach out to you eventually. Yes, so that's all I have. Welcome.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I found out that there was another microphone. It's over for everybody. So real quick note, this is gonna seem like me going backward, but I promise it's not. Budget and Finance Committee is going to have its day today. The thing that I wanna actually, bring your attention to very briefly is the Graduate Assistant Advisory Committee. If you are looking at your notes, you have a memo. That memo, whenever it comes to the assembly, will always come from me in a liaison position. My job is truly includes GA assistantships, anything that is in the campus level. If you have something that is a big system-wide issue, or you have an issue that you think is above me, it is also Keegan's job. So just be aware that a lot of that oversight is gonna happen with me and with Keegan. If you have any questions about how the meeting convert happened, that is perfectly fine. My goal is to give you kind of a brief overview in that memo. I'm not gonna go too deep into detail on each of these items in the memo, just wanna make sure that you know kind of what GAC's role is, that is in the purpose of that particular memo, and of course, what the different topics were. So we looked at graduate assistantship oversight, pay equity, and this included some of the audit mechanisms that we saw. There were some parts of the institution that saw recompense for back pay and other issues. And similarly, there were some policy enforcement questions that came up in GAC. Likewise, there was a conversation about what a grievance policy looks like at the university. That directly impacts you. If you didn't already know, the ombuds office is even moving out of the graduate school and into the president's office, if I'm correct. So you are going to see some changes that directly impact how you would go about saying if there is a problem or if there isn't a problem, with everything from your assistantships and your interactions with your supervisor to bigger issues that maybe have a more fiscal or policy related impact. Also on the list, and again, I'm gonna breeze a little bit here. Offer letters and appointment letters were clarified for us. We are sharing that clarification with you because someone will ask you. Like inevitably, you will be, as a program representative, it was one of the questions I got asked and I was like, huh? I mean, they are substantially different, but it's easy to confuse the two. I've given you the definitions that GAC was given, and those are the ones that we stand by. In addition, you also got some information on the financial headwinds, the cost of living adjustment, which is a big deal. If you were expecting a large COLA, I would, I'm just gonna be very real with you. You just heard the president talk about budget impacts. Just don't expect a large COLA increase. I mean, don't expect a COLA. right now.
1%.
1% is reasonable.
If we're lucky.
Yes, what GAC can definitely say is, we were told that was Klein, we needed to claw the last COLA. Out of the state budget to get it done, so. As you're talking to people, if people are having complaints about graduate assistant services, especially, just give them that information. Of note, GAC gets to do this work because it is a bulwark functionality. It is not a union. It is a meet and confer process. It is not to be equated to those things. GSG doesn't equate them. I just need to give you that information because it is our responsibility to pass it along to you. And I hope that you will feel comfortable passing it along to people who are in your programs. With that said, that was the last of the boring stuff. I'm so sorry. That was the last of what you may consider the boring stuff. You may consider this next thing boring, but that's fine. The committee and board reports also extend to the Budget and Finance Committee. The VPFA gets wide latitude in our assembly, which means the times and everything else that is connected to the budget and finance process come from Budget and Finance as a committee and from the VPFA. So Sydney is gonna have a lot of control of what we do over the next little bit. Please be attentive to it. We'll try to be as concise as we can be. With that said, I will turn it over to Sydney for that portion of our discussion.
Alright, so I'm gonna give a overview of how budget and fees work at UMD, and then we'll go into the fee that we're primarily discussing today. And we also have Jake, and he was on, our business manager through SORC, to propose our official graduate student activities fee. Alright, so UMD does it, things a little bit weird, everybody says it, but it's the way we do it. We do fees before we set budget for next year. So what I've been working on, and a host of other people have been working on, is figuring out, we've got fee units or fee setting units across the university. Can you toss the memo up?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a memo that explains all of this, but we have athletic, shuttle bus, we got student union, graduate student activities, which is what we'll discuss today, recreation, student counseling, and for our international students, the international student fee. What each of those units does is they confer within their own unit, they decide this is what we need, predicting a budget for next year, and based off of that, this is the fee that we need from graduate students and undergrad students for operations. That will then go to Keegan and I sit on the committee for review of student fees. And we vote with SGA, RHA, and a couple other people that then goes to the cabinet for official, this is what the fees are gonna be for students next year. Your guys' role in all of this, and BFC plays, I guess, a little bit more of direct role, is we kind of educate what our votes are gonna be. So today we'll be voting on the graduate student activities fee. December, you'll see me back. We'll be looking at all the other fees. So we'll get your guys' opinion and then take that to the CRSF meeting to then vote of what's getting passed on. Any questions about that? And these are like best guesses, all the fees, which is, you'll kind of hear, we're like, well, we're gonna predict this for next year, which is why we are doing the fee a certain way. So fee we are doing today, or going to discuss today, is the graduate student activities fee. This is the fee that is set by student government. It funds both our government. It also funds GLAO, so the Graduate Legal Aid Office, which is underneath our purview. A couple changes from last year that I'm gonna have Jake do, but Jake, are you on?
Yep, I'm here.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You're quiet.
You're
Okay.
really fine.
I'm gonna have Jake talk about some of the details with those SORC increases. And then I'll come back and talk about, we've included an enhancement this year. That is for a couple reasons. So every fee has what is considered mandatory increases. Jake's gonna cover those, and then fee setting units have the option to do an enhancement or a non-required fee increase, or in theory decrease, but no one ever decreases fees, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have Jake speak about the GSAF fee proposal and some of the changes on the mandatory side where you're gonna see an increase in the fee. And then I will come back and talk fee enhancement. Yeah.
All right, Jake, you do indeed have the floor. Do you want me to put up the,
If you want to put up the proposal, or I can share it honestly, or Jake.
the last fee proposal that was in there? Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
there will be more discussion. Sorry.
cool, no problem. And as that gets going, just a quick introduction. My name is Jake. I'm the business manager down in Sork Finance. So most of what my office does is managing the undergraduate student activity fee because that's a much larger pool of money, sort of based on the philosophy of SGA and how they do that, as well as just a larger group of undergraduate students. But I do serve as the business manager for GSG as well. So you'll probably hear from me during this fee setting, during budgeting, but I do work pretty closely with Sydney and Lizzie regarding some of the budgeting pieces, as well as the actual spending, which sometimes needs to be facilitated by a professional staff member. That's where I come in. As Sydney alluded to, two types of increases when it comes to fee setting. The first is a mandatory increase. That's what I'll talk about here today. And really, the mandatory increases are based on guidance that we get from the University Budget Office about increase in costs generally. So for the different fees, this might involve things like increase of cost of utilities or capital projects. But specifically for the graduate student activities fee, we are just looking at changes to salaries and fringe benefits because none of those other things fall into this category. So when we were asked to prepare these for the fee setting committee, they did ask us to prepare two versions of this. For GSG, it did come out pretty similarly in both cases. So as far as differences, one includes a merit and COLA increase. So the COLA would be 1% and the merit would be 2.5%. Honestly, those cases didn't look all that different just because the only salary lines in this case are the graduate assistantships through GSG for the GSG fee, and then the director/attorney for the graduate legal aid office and the coordinator for that office, both of whom are not full-time. So that's probably about 1.5 in terms of full-time equivalent. So those increases are relatively minor. Two of the other increases that have come into mandatory fee increases in this case are a couple of stamp priorities that Stamp has been helping GSG out with. Stamp knows that the GSG budget runs pretty lean. We know that you intend to keep it that way and totally understand that and respect it. Two places where we're looking to make some changes have to do with the contribution that GSG makes to SORC for my services, as well as contributing more to the GA fringe. Without going into exhaustive detail in terms of the SORC contribution, I think it was decided back in 2005 that GSG would contribute $5,000 to SORC for the use of my time as the business manager. $5,000 in 2005 is not the same as $5,000 in 2025. And also there has been a little bit of an increase in my involvement just because students can do less money management, even graduate students. I would trust you all to do that sort of thing, but does have to be me. So we were looking to bump that eventually to 15% of my salary to align with the fact that GSG and GLAO's funds are about 15% of the funds that I manage. This year, we're looking about stepping up half of that. So from a 5K contribution to a 10% of my salary contribution for my time and to support my office. And then the second piece, like I said, is a graduate fringe. So there was a time when all student affairs graduate assistants had their fringe covered centrally by student affairs. That was just no longer fiscally feasible. So they transfer that cost out to departments. Since Stamp knows that y'all run pretty lean, they started by having GSG pay half of the graduate fringe fee within their fee, and then Stamp paid half of it. It really is our goal to get 100% of the fringe costs into the graduate student activities fee because it really is benefiting graduate students, not necessarily Stamp. So similarly, we worked out sort of a plan to go about halfway to go from 50% to about 75% to build that in, and do know that efforts in the student activity fee for the undergrads are happening similarly. A lot of salary lines and fringe lines are being pulled from STAMP into the fee. And that also does allow STAMP to be good financial stewards. If the COLA and merit does not go through, they're actually looking at a fee reduction this year. So just to show that STAMP isn't trying to nickel and dime anyone. So when you have both of those mandatory fee increases factored in, the mandatory fee increase works out to $2 either way. If the merit and COLA are applied, that would apply to the GAs as well as the graduate legal aid office. We're rounding down to $2. If they don't apply, we'd be rounding up to $2. But in any case, those mandatory fees would be about $2. And then there's the dollar enhancement, which Sydney can speak more to.
Does anybody have any questions for Jake specifically about anything that he said? It's a lot of just unfortunately numbers and. Cool. Okay, if you need to leave, Jake, feel free, or feel free to hang out, and pop in if I say anything that you strongly disagree with. Okay. So enhancement, for the last 5 years, I believe, yeah, 5 years, we have not increased or done any enhancement.
Once.
We did once,
2023.
okay, but it was like what, $1? Yeah, okay, so. To what Jake was saying, that we really try to keep it lean and minimize how much we're taking from graduate students, but we want to be able to maintain our core operation. So being able to provide the services that we do year to year, and also just facilitate the actual functioning of the government, and that's largely through the executive board, GHMs. So saying all of that, we have a unprecedented time in which we are already seeing numbers come out that 17% of international student enrollment is dropping. We don't quite know and expect that number of drop on the domestic side, but it's certainly not a flourishing time for the academic community. And as such, and keeping in mind and guessing what we're going to need as far as budget to maintain those core roles of GSG at UMD, we are considering what deficits to our budget would look like if our graduate student population dropped significantly, because we are funded from this fee. And so if we're assuming fee per number based off of previous enrollment. We don't know how many people are going to enroll next year. We are assuming it's going to be less. Because it's going to be less, we're going to have some deficit, and we are trying to protect and make sure things like under GLAO, that the immigration lawyer can still see as many graduate students as possible, that we are still able to advocate and provide some of the granting opportunities for both groups and individuals. All that to say, to help kind of cushion that we're seeing deficit and to maintain what our operations are going to be for next fiscal year, we are proposing a $1 enhancement on the graduate student activities fee. So that would go on top of that $2 mandatory fee increase. I like to, and I'm actually just going to share, because I think all fees are in, or we're taking a grab. So we are but one of several fee setting units, and I think it's really important to have context, because looking at a $1 enhancement as part of, oh, it's one more dollar on like a $50 increase, it's, I think, a bit more daunting than looking at a $1 increase if all the other fee setting units are staying about the same, and we're seeing a like net overall $5 increase. So I have this lovely spreadsheet. It has everything that I know so far. The only thing that I can't say, and it's probably unfortunately going to be the biggest increase, is the shuttle bus. Otherwise, none of the fee setting units are really planning on changing anything. They're either staying $0 or in some cases, everybody was asked to do the no merit COLA situation. And in the case of merit and COLA, in some cases, they had to increase just to pay for, increase to fringe and some of the personnel issues. So feel free, everybody has this, it's also in the memo, but we are looking at a 5% increase essentially, 5.8% increase if we do the enhancement. Without the enhancement, we're looking at about a 3.6, 3.7 percent increase. I know Keegan has also feelings, so feel free to share about the enhancement. We're very aware that every dollar counts for graduate students and are coming in to asking for this enhancement with that in mind. We are very worried of what the outcome could be next year, the year after, if we find ourselves in a severe operational deficit for budget for GSG. So in a perfect world, we do an enhancement this year and the world goes back to normal, and next year we have lots of grad students and we can actually maybe like bring it back down, or we're able to just blossom as far as what services we're able to provide. In the worst case, this $1 enhancement is gonna add a little bit of a bubble so that we can continue for how many ever future years are needed at this lower graduate enrollment rate. But do you wanna add anything to that? Cool.
I will also add that, as Jake had mentioned, we do run on a very lean budget. We have very little fat. So unfortunately, that means that there's nothing to trim. The reason why this is even brought up, like I remember when I brought this up to Sydney, I'm like, we have to, because the alternative is we get rid of funding for student programs. We stop traveling to necessary state events. Like, there is nothing to trim. So this is not a, it'd be nice to have, this is a, we are trying to maintain core functions, and that's it. That is all that this is, and this may not even fully cover that, depending on how dramatic or not enrollment number drop off is next year. If it's something like 20%,
It's not gonna.
yeah, this won't even come close to covering it. And we do have, I will say that we do have some, we have a fund balance both with the here, like at the university and also in the foundation. But it's enough for a couple of years, not a decade or something like that. We don't have much. So I just wanted to share that context. It's not something we're asking lightly, nor is it something that is not something I would phrase as optional.
Point of information. So regarding the drop off, just to have a clearer number, do we have a number for this spring intake, and could we source back towards trying to figure out what exactly the situation now? Because
We don't have spring enrollment numbers. I think we barely have.
Estimates.
Yeah, we have estimates, but we don't have numbers, and we could rely on kind of what the general population is doing, and the 17% came from like a national review. But yeah. And I'd say I ran the numbers to where the deficit is. My goal with this $1 was that with that foundational funding, we could bridge 3 or 4 years. If we go down 20%, even with that $1, we're probably gonna be pulling about 35,000 from our foundation budget. If we don't do anything, we're gonna run ourselves dry in like 1 or 2 years. 2 years. I wish I could read the future and say this is what it's gonna be. We're trying to kind of play the middle of, if it's worst case, all right, we're not screwed. If it's best case, great, we'll kind of pull back and we were at least safe. Nora, I see your hands raised.
Hi, sorry, I thought I unmuted myself, but I lowered my hand. Thank you, Sydney. Hi, I'm Nora. I'm a epidemiology PhD representative. And I wanted to say, I feel like this is a reasonable thing given the dire circumstances. So this isn't even like exorbitant given the dire circumstances. So this, and I also wanted to say, given the national average, Maryland is a blue state where they also have many protections for LGBTQ individuals and transgender individuals, which means we might not see the same kinds of downticks as other states may be, as we might be seeing an influx of Marylanders coming to Maryland as a sanctuary state. So something to keep in mind too.
Do you mind if I actually want to bring people back to that, because Nora and Sydney have spoken to a point that's very important to keep in mind just about enrollment in general. We don't, from what I understood, we still don't have solid fall numbers.
Yeah.
So consider that perhaps, as we're looking at things broadly. As Jake said in the chat, I think his point was that we aren't capturing enrollment. We aren't capturing things that we can't actually get to. But also maybe to Nora's point that we could see some positive gains. It's not out of the realm of opportunity. We just want to be as dutiful and careful as Sydney have been instructing us.
Yeah, I can't speak to university. I have hands-on engineering numbers and they decreased from 2024 to 2025 for fall enrollment. So
Right.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what percent, but
I have a question about the projection.
I'm so sorry. For everybody in the room, I'm also gonna pass around this microphone so that people on Zoom can hear you. Remember to just say, get your first name in your program. That's it.
I'm Diantha, I'm English program representative, I'm a PhD student. I'm curious about the projection because that's, I understand the situation here, but I would just like a fuller picture before we get into this vote. One thing I'm curious about is this projection that is being made. I think there were a lot of factors that, impacted international student enrollment this year. One of which was the decreased operation of just, like the visas being handed out. But I think there are a lot of policy shifts. Just to quote one, they are now not handing out H-1B visas to people who do not have US education degrees. Like that's something that's been impacted. So people who might want to come work here would have to take the path of, getting degrees in the US. So I don't know whether it is going to be as dismal as people are imagining it to be. At least that's what my thinking is. So I just want to also get a sense of what I know we don't have exact numbers, but what are the guesses that, what kind of estimates are we thinking in terms of the fee going up? What parts of it are going to go up? I am sorry, I don't even have access to the document. I did not even know the meeting was going to be here. I was elsewhere. So I just don't really have much information here, but just to kind of contextualize this a little bit better so that we can vote through a more sort of informed way. Yeah, thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I went through the math and kind of did a couple different situations. One being enrollment stays the same. One being that we see a drastic drop at negative 20% enrollment, and then I did 10% and 15% enrollment drops. Quite frankly, at least talking to people, no one's anticipating an increase because funding wise for research, we can't handle it. So based off of that, we kind of have those three circumstances. Oh, that's what it was popped up in my corner.
Yes.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Yeah, I guess you mean that.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so I did several fun little play around with the money and just looking at current enrollment, and we'll take the middle at 15%. If we did not do a enhancement, we're looking at losing, we would be pulling just shy of 30,000 from our foundation. Where it gets in my head a bit scarier is if we are closer to that 20, we're now broaching that 40,000 from deficit. And I separated our GSG budget from the GIO. The GIO does do a lot of services, and it does come under purview of this fee. If there was a significant decrease in enrollment, like they're non-operational, essentially, they're not gonna be able to. We would have to probably do a drastic fee increase if we wanted to keep them afloat and offering, legal services to grad students, so, there's kind of two aspects, of that, and then as far as lines of where it's going, I would just. This is kind of our operational budget, for this year, I'll just share it, because we were asked. Items that we are looking to for, protection, or specifically some of this internal programming, and then this external programming to make sure that those particular line items are saved. Unfortunately, to what Keegan was saying, that we run a lean budget. If we have to make cuts, those internal and external programming is where it's gonna come first. Because if we get rid of staffing, we're gonna become non-operational. So the programming is what's going to suffer first. And unfortunately, or in my view, that's some of the most important things that we offer this campus. As far as the outreach, and then also just creating events and community here. So that is where we would be seeing those cuts if we did see a big deficit, and it's really hard to predict what's gonna happen. So yeah, we're just kind of doing our best to like try and find that middle of the road, not asking too much as far as an enhancement, but also protecting future GSGs. I saw a couple, and I also see Nora's too.
Before we go into further questions, I wanted to add a little bit to that. So although we don't have firm numbers still, because it's everything like on a year delay, basically, when it comes to a lot of this stuff, I will say from both the graduate school and the provost, is where those projected decreases in enrollment are coming from. They don't have exact numbers. Nobody knows exactly. Nobody can tell the future, but I will say that so far we were at the beginning of the semester, 400 fewer international grads enrolled. I think it's up down to 600, maybe 700, something like that. So we're already looking at a 5% drop. This year that was covered by, kind of to Nora's point, domestic students who are waiting in the wings, mostly covered by that. That was not anticipated to continue next year. So already we're looking at least at the 5-6% range, and it'll probably go more like the 10% range, I guess. Hopefully in only 10%.
I saw, yeah, I know they're doing, yeah. There's just a little suspicion, there we go.
David Liendo, BCH, PhD student. So I have a quick question, Sydney. You might not know, but I was wondering whether this happened during Trump 101, like 1.0, like any of the cuts affected, or is just like now a brand new thing because of the cuts that he's doing?
Not to this level.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would consider where that administration was versus this one, and the different types of guardrails that we saw in that administration when it came to budgetary procedure. Sorry.
I would say, as you're thinking about comparing this to the, let's say, the past 4 years, the past 8 years, and you're thinking about, or maybe not the past 8 years, because. Right, but in the previous administration, there were a different set of what analysts would call political guardrails that changed the way the budgetary process was actioned. At this point, I mean, we saw a bill, we've now seen a government shutdown that has been the longest in the country's history, and the last time we had a long one was in the previous administration, so it's also reasonable, if you have questions about, hey, are we doing something that's gonna be out the wazoo, I can tell you from my perspective and from an external affairs perspective, this looks like worlds different. I do recall working in the Senate during the last administration, and this looks so different as a fiscal issue. I won't comment further because of our decorum. I just want to be clear. That's a great question. And as you look forward and you think about the other budgetary measures that City brings forward, it's important to keep in mind that it's 2025 and we are in this weird spot. Yeah, we keep saying it, and I bet you it's gonna lose its punch, but we are in an unprecedented time. And what I have said from a political perspective, from my perspective with our partners is. It's rough. It's been rough for our partners. I mean, like our partner organizations at like Georgetown and American and all of our other institutions, we are talking with them constantly. They're hitting the same roadblock. And I'll be honest, a lot of times way worse than us. We are very lucky to some degree. To be in the position that we are, even across the system, as one of the flagship institutions, we're doing okay. But I want to be clear that the political circumstances, right, it is on the board's mind. And we are doing a lot here to both protect the solvency of a thing that's really important to grads and also to protect all of our members, which is to say the graduate population, the program representatives here. Just want to make that clear because it's such a great point.
And then I think.
Hello, it's Anirudh from cybersecurity. So another question which I had in terms of decreasing the whole number. What's the worst amount of calculation have we gone until? Because seeing that it's not only about 20, you said it's 20% of the national average is according to be 17%. I do feel that there will be a larger amount of international student footfall which will decrease comparatively, because looking at all the other options, to be really honest, in terms of how the essentially you face the reality of having a graduate coming, the University of Maryland has a higher number of CS and engineering kind of higher population of graduate students compared to the other ones, looking at the market not being stable, looking at the amount of regulations coming in terms of H1B. Yes, I agree to the point that we do need a US degree, but not a lot of people are actually looking forward to afford it. So do we have a projection which is like the least, I mean, what is the least amount of, if not 20, let's say the worst case scenario to be 30, then how bad of a situation would that be? Would that be accounted for? And also the amount of fundraising which is happening from the University of Maryland side, I believe it is, as of now, we are raising $9 million. I'm not exactly sure with the numbers. Yeah, I mean across to that number. Does graduate student council, or do we have a chance of even having not a similar number, but at least some sort of fundraising which is possible? Or is that a later kind of discussion which you're getting into?
To the fundraising one, we do not have the capacity in the university just for fundraising that much. We could certainly try to fundraise efforts for GSG and grad students, but I think that would be an uphill battle. The university has also put a lot of money into fundraising that amount and has far deeper pockets and of network than we do. So I would hesitate to rely on fundraising. As for the worst case, I did not go beyond 20%. If we're going beyond 20.
I did.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did? Is that it? Okay.
So, basically, I went to about 50%. So at 50%, we could sustain our operations for about 4 years, but then we'd be completely broke. And there'd be no reserves whatsoever of any sort. We have enough in the bank right now, per our last conversation with Marcia, the staff director. We have enough to support ourselves with the zero funding for about 2 years, just under 2 years. So if we had a 50% cut, 4 years. You can extrapolate from there.
I want to make sure that we give time to Nora, who I believe is waiting.
Yeah, Nora's next, and then.
Hi. Yeah, Nora, epidemiology, PhD student. So I guess I just wanted to reiterate. So what you're asking for is a $3 increase to the $727 fee. Is that what I?
If we include all of these.
Yeah,
And
if you're like taking 10 credits and.
Yeah, if you're taking 10 credits, we're looking at a $3 increase, 2 of which are mandatory. I will note, so yes, a $700 fee.
Okay. So that seems $730 instead of 727 would be the difference for next year that people would have to pay to ensure that there is an enhancement that could protect us and buffer us at least a tiny bit. And I think that is very reasonable, given the very unreasonable situations that the graduate student government and the entire USM has been put in, given the political situations. And I also want to move for a vote, if that's a thing.
You actually can move to call the question at any time. Is there any second to a vote on the measure?
To
If
approve
not,
the
it's-
budget.
Yeah, to approve well, it would be approved that
Yeah.
you are certainly able to move on that. You also can move on it in new business. That motion
Yes,
is
it is.
standing on the table nevertheless. Is there any second to that motion? All right, I see a second in the room. We will move to a vote on this measure. This will seem a little bit quick to people who are not used to the Mentimeter. If you had it open, we are going to continue buzzing right along. The question that you're going to see is a very simple one. It's going to be marked as, sorry, it's gonna be marked as GSGA 45A04. If you can't see it, no worry, the question should be popping up. Yes, I believe there's another discussion item on the table. While voting is commencing, you are more than welcome to speak at this time. Just say your name and your program. The power button.
My name is Gabriel, MCH, a PhD student. So I just wanted to add my voice to what is said in terms of the outreach to partners and other people that might want to support the GSG. Do we have any concrete plans to reach out? I just think that rather than say that, okay, we don't expect anything, we should just have like a contingency plan, a concrete plan. We could get something, no matter how small, that could actually augment. Thank you.
I think that's an excellent question, and I'm going to abbreviate because I want people to feel like they can vote with the knowledge. We've kind of been, I think we've been working at all angles at this point. So of course, if you're seeing something and you think it's going to be a funding resource that we could actually get down to, we've already this year applied for at least 2 grants that I'm aware of. We are constantly looking for that kind of stuff. If you see it and you see it in your program and you see that, oh yeah, this is for graduate students, it's for a general body, that's something that Sydney, I think the whole e-board would want to see, but especially would be useful to share with Sydney. In addition, if y'all see anything like that floating around the campus, we had a conversation before, actually, no, we had a conversation around when the Empower email came out, right? That's supposed to be support for early scholars in the university. We're still in those discussions, like we've been advocates for that. And so it's important to keep just as much in mind that we are looking to that kind of stuff. And when somebody brings it up, we're like, yeah, actually, bring it our way. This is exactly what assembly is for. It's exactly what these jobs are for. I hope that kind of directly responded.
I will also briefly add that we have actively lost donors this year. And people who have previously supported us because they don't have money. So we could try, but we are already in the process of losing what we already had.
Was there another question? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Bayla. I'm from the Master of Community Planning program, and I'm in first year. I was just curious if you guys post what grants we have applied for, so that we're not double looking at the same ones.
Yeah, we try.
We have a spreadsheet. We'll make sure that is accessible on the drive.
We'll try and give you access to some assembly materials, and I'll certainly coordinate with y'all to make sure that gets.
Make sure that's. Yeah, cause I'm happy to look, I don't wanna spend time with.
Yeah, well, again, it's what assembly is for. We definitely don't mind it. I want to also remind you of a quorum of 21, given our new membership. Thank you. Oh, I'm crazy with the microphones. I want to remind you of a quorum, that our quorum remains 21. So as long as we have 21 votes at the end of the next minute, so 4:38, this vote will close.
Yeah, we're already.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm just giving people more time in case they're listening. I'm gonna give you until the clock strikes 4:38. But please let us know if you have any questions on this, especially let Sydney know, because Sydney's so good at this, my goodness. But also maybe don't tax Sydney. Maybe don't put 20 emails in her inbox. It is already getting kind of overflow. I know because I'm part of the reason why it is overflowing. With that said, you'll see a few more things like this. I'm just saying this for new members who maybe haven't gotten used to the Mentimeter structure. I use this to track your responses. It does not track your name. We don't do a roll call vote unless there's a motion for a roll call vote, kind of standard procedure, just letting you know in case you're like, oh, I want to know how somebody voted. It's gonna be your responsibility to talk to your constituents about that. Not mine. I'm not gonna let your confidentiality be broken. But that said, I'm seeing 438. I'm also seeing final numbers here. If you're a person who is on Zoom or virtually elsewhere, know that you have a right to participate in this, even if you can't participate in the Mentimeter. As I said in the responses, your only requirement for me to count your vote in the final tally for this vote is to get that information to me either via Zoom in a direct message or in the next 24 hours. That way it can be counted in the final minutes for this meeting. That is, I know it sounded like it was breathless, it's intended to just be very direct. With that said, I can definitely conclude this particular item. The yeas are 17, the nays are 5, one person abstaining. This measure tentatively passes. It will be transmitted to the executive board pending the final count of votes, which would be presented in the next 24 hours. So if you are a person who is on Zoom who maybe didn't get a chance to vote, try and get that come by Saturday evening. I'll probably be asleep because I need a nap. Let me go ahead and switch us back. With that said, are there any thoughts, comments, questions on that measure? Debate has ended. You are more than welcome to continue debating these particular items, but guess what? Your girl is not gonna stop you and not gonna participate because I like my rest. The Budget and Finance Committee's report, I'm sorry, I'm at a 12 because it's Friday and y'all know that it's about to be Thanksgiving break next week. And so my brain, like probably some of y'all's brain, has been walking out the day. Like the whole day, it's just been walking. With that said, the Budget and Finance Committee, unless there's anything else from the chair, we will go ahead and move forward. Do you have anything else for the group? Do you want?
I mean, that's up to you. I'm not got a page on my agenda.
Oh, no, you're perfectly fine. We'll move it to new.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, under normal circumstances, there would be a motion at this point to move on to a discussion. I'm actually gonna ask for a motion to table this discussion, while we get to Senator Rosapep. I actually reached out to him via phone. I'm trying to make sure he is, okay and that we didn't like lose him in the building. But we've done some searching. We're thinking that he might have just gotten lost or is not present with us. So I'm gonna ask for a motion to table this discussion so that we can move the discussion with Senator Rosa Pepe to a future meeting pending a vote of the legislative act. Legislative affairs actually gets that one. So pending a vote of the Legislative Affairs Committee and the Rules Committee. Are there any motions on that front?
Movement to change the order of operations for the discussion of Senator Rosa Pepe.
I'll take it. I can intelligent. That makes sense. Let's go. Thank you, Nora. Any seconds? I still see a second. With that said, we do have a motion, we do have a second. Unless there is any pull, we can ask unanimous consent for this particular item because there was preliminary rules approval of a slight agenda change on two fronts for time. Are there any objections to the motion? It's not a question on the table. Seeing none, we're gonna move forward. Again, we will see Jim Rosenberg for sure. And if we don't see him here, he's also on our list of people that we will see at Legislative Action Day, which I have happily taxed my friends. I've definitely put Legislative Action Committee into work. But that said, we also have done a lot. And as you can see on the agenda, there is a recess. As I said in the first meeting, if you're not aware, the executive board cannot make main motions, which means we cannot move you to a recess. Would anybody like to move for a 5-minute break? Oh, and do we have a second? Given the agenda's consent agenda status, we will move to a 5-minute recess. That 5-minute recess will conclude at 4:47. See you back here. Yeah.
Point of parliamentary inquiry, the meeting is scheduled at.
Yeah, we're gonna do.
And
It's 5:30.
it's fine, like.
If you have an agenda, it is very possible that if you didn't see the agenda, you did not see it in the calendar either. It's 3:30 to 5:30. I'm gonna try and push us through the rest of the agenda so that we can get closer to 5 o'clock. But the approval that I have is from rules because we had so much budgetary work to do, was 5:30.
I think it's that calendar.
Yeah, it's a calendar invite that probably did it. But anyway, so take advantage of the break, we'll come back to this, see you in 5 minutes.
I don't even think we are.
No, that is.
Shocking, like, and glasses and a mustache.
Hello, everyone. If you can hear me on Zoom, I'm so dreadfully sorry. I did this thing called not pressing unmute. You know how it is. But we're gonna kind of zoom through the next few things. That way I can get people out here as close to 5 as I can. You'll notice that item 6.1 on our agenda ain't real. We actually already passed it. Congratulations. Thank you. You made my life easier. You made I mean, honestly, Sydney's life, Lizzie, all of our lives easy. With that said, we have to move on through new business. This is gonna be item 6.2. It's an event funding request. This is for, I wanna say Kieran is the person who's gonna be, presenting. You will see a brief presentation. I'm gonna make a slight adjustment to be clear about our procedure if you haven't been in the EFR before. Again, Sydney kind of runs that procedure. Just to be clear, we move to closed session toward the end of the presentation. That means I'll kind of move anybody who is not a voting program representative out of our discussion. We will have a discussion like right down to the minute of where we need to, and then we will bring everyone else back in. So if you're a person from Diamondback, if you're an outside person who is not actually in the body, just make sure that you leave. And then we will continue moving forward. With that said, give me a quick moment and I will pass it over to Kieran.
Slide down.
Yeah, I got you. I just gotta, I gotta switch over here. 1 second. Let's see. See, and this is why you keep emails open, because I'm like, I know exactly where that is. Also, I love that it's mega because I'm like, yeah, of course, like it's huge. And it's like, oh, sorry.
No, we have reliability engineering too, but the acronym.
Mega is.
An R in the middle.
You didn't want to be Megra? That's crazy. Or Morega? Sounds like a questionable thing you would see on fanfiction.net, but you didn't hear that from me. With that said, hey, wait for this to open finally. Aha.
Or you could just add the R and say that R is silent.
Yeah, the R is silent. Okay.
Add like a small, that E has these apostrophes which are of no point, just add a number of those and.
Some accent mark, yeah.
All right. Okay, what was your role then? You have to.
Right. Thank you. My name is Kieran Barvinick. I am the treasurer of the Mechanical and Reliability Graduate Association. And I'm going to do a brief presentation about our end of semester social for an event funding request. So just a really brief background of our organization. Again, we're Mega. We represent master's and PhD students in both mechanical and reliability engineering. And our goal generally is to support students throughout their entire PhD or master's program, both socially and academically, as well as to advocate on behalf of them to our department and through other means as well. We put on a variety of events throughout our typical year, academic events, including qualifying exam and proposal workshops, and as well as more social events to try to foster collaboration and an inclusive atmosphere, such as weekly coffee hours, and more relevant to today's discussion, our end of fall semester social. This is an event that we've put on for the past 3 years. And our attendance has always been pretty good. It's one of our best attended events throughout the year. It started in 2022 and we did it in collaboration with the biomedical engineering department, where our attendance was about 75 students. And throughout, we've had 50 in 2023 and 60 in 2024. So generally pretty good attendance for our events. And I've highlighted the cost at the bottom here over the years. Generally, they average below 2K, with the lower attended ones averaging about like 1,500. And generally, a suggestion that we've gotten over the years has been to increase the number of departments that we collaborate through large events like this in order to foster more interdisciplinary collaboration, as well as just to give people more opportunities to meet graduate students through other circles. And so this year, we have intended to open it up to the general graduate student body. We're also partnering with ECE GSA in order to organize the event, in order to have more hands on deck, in order to set it up. We're moving it to the Prince George's room in Stamp Student Union. In the past, we've done it through like conference rooms in the mechanical engineering building, but now we're projecting a higher attendance around 130 up from 50 to 70. And that projection is based on both of our department size as well as a slight inflation for opening it up to the general graduate student population. The capacity in the room, it's a pretty cheap room, $19 an hour for student organizations. It does restrict us to using stamp catering, and that'll come into play when we discuss event funding and like how we budgeted everything. And kind of maybe unsurprisingly, maybe this is presenting on Google Slides, so the slide looks a little bit choppy here. But perhaps unsurprisingly, the majority of the budget breakdown comes from catering for the event. We always cater these events in order to kind of draw people in, and then they stay for socialization and again, collaboration with others. And so 2,000 of our $2,300 budget is going towards catering. And again, we're restricted to using stamp catering because we're doing it in Stamp Student Union. And generally speaking, the budget is in line with our previous events. It's only a 55% increase in our budget from past semesters, but we have a approximately 75% increase in expected attendance. And the GSG funding, if we receive it, will go directly towards the catering for the event. I have some of more particular breakdown, but main thing to say is we're using Qdoba. It's one of the cheaper options in terms of a bulk catering request from the stamp options. And it's generally in line with what we've had in previous semesters for our event. We're buying most of we plan to buy most of our drinks in bulk from Costco with some caffeine-free options from Giant and things like that. Just kind of speeding along here, but we have a more detailed budget breakdown if anyone is interested. As well as setting aside some small fee, about $50 for like craft supplies. We tend to put these out on the banquet tables in order to just give people a way to like kind of break the ice and start communicating with other people at their tables. These would just be like cheap things from Five Below and things like that, as well as silverware and miscellaneous other supplies like that. So generally speaking, this event is in line with the budget that we've had in previous semesters, but again, we intend to increase the attendance by opening it up to general graduate student population. The GSG funding would make a huge impact, especially because our group specifically has had our budget restricted a little bit this year from past semesters, and we're trying to pull together the funding that we can, but we've had some limitations placed on our group from the department. So that funding would really help go a long way towards making this happen. It's always one of everybody's favorite events. And yeah, we're hoping to make it even bigger and better to promote new collaborations across disciplines. That about wraps up the slides.
Right on time too. Thank you so very much. As I love some applause. Come on now. Y'all, they decided to elect me last year, can't you believe? But the floor is now open for discussion on the measure. Is there anyone who has any questions for the presenter about the nature of the EFR that we have before us?
I do have one, also Q, you might know this better than me. But specifically for drinks, would that fall under stamp catering? Or is that one of those don't ask, don't tell things? They're big Pepsi. As long as you're getting Pepsi.
Yeah.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask.
Don't ask, don't tell.
We've
Okay.
made sure to budget for Pepsi products. I mean,
Yes.
Costco sells like Pepsi in bulk and stuff like
Okay, I
that,
see.
so.
Like,
Yeah, the main event catering would all be done through stamp catering, yeah.
Hypothetically, you have a sticker that says Pepsi that you just put over. And
Exactly.
it doesn't say.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I see it. I saw it.
yeah, just, I don't like it.
Any other outstanding questions among the body? Yes, Jesse.
Okay, let's see,
Let's actually get you a microphone. I'm sorry
Here,
about that.
that's back here.
It's back there, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, I was just curious, like, how you guys made the projection for attendance?
That's a good question. So our department usually averages about like 50 to 60 in attendance. And then we're doing we're working in conjunction with ECE GSA that projected a similar number to our department. The departments are similar size, which puts us at around like 100 to 110-ish maybe. And then we inflated the number slightly. Again, it would be open to general attendance, but I guess because our department is putting it on and ECE is putting it on, we expect maybe to have slightly biased numbers towards our departments. We didn't want to kind of arbitrarily inflate the number beyond like those departments, but the attendance would be generally open to everyone, yeah.
Given our rules on discussion, I have to ask if there are any other questions out here? Looking around? Any questions on Zoom at this time? Feel free to raise your hands or unmute. Alright, I'm seeing none in either one of those things. Oh, yeah, there's another question, yeah?
I'm so sorry. What plans do you have to advertise this to the general campus?
That's a good question. So, I mean, in the event funding request, we put together some like advertising based on like the GSG recommendations. I concede that our organization tends to advertise mostly within our department. And so that's something that's maybe a little bit outside of the efforts that we've done thus far. But yeah, I mean,
As long as
if there
you're
are any,
aware, that's all I want to
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Am I correct? We had another question.
I wanted to see one of your slides where it says like the based on the bits that you have, like it says like worship or QE to qualify.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry,
Yeah.
just for the people.
I wanna see the slide of like typical year of like the activities that you guys do, because it says like qualifying exams workshop. So I was like, I wanted to bring that more, like, knowing that we have a lot of PhD students also, and we're trying to provide that in my department as well, so that's the only thing I wanted to see and take some picture of that.
Relatable, honestly. And.
Yeah, so as a part of the event, do we have GST to be mentioned specifically on those banners or advertisements and social media posts? As we would be sponsoring it, so that would be a collabor. So I guess the terms of terms of our understanding and yours would be where all the advertisement would be, where will the positioning of the GSD logo would be in terms of collaborations. In terms of sponsorships, how many posts are you looking at posting up? How many posters would you be involving us in? Collaborative.
I can answer that one a little bit if you want. I'll take it from our side. So EFR generally, we don't do a formalized contract, but if it's approved, Lizzie, quite frankly, works with the organization to make sure things like that are one of the requirements is making sure that GSG sponsorship, hey, we're sponsoring this, is on there, and then work to make sure that some of the things about marketing for a broader audience are there. And then after the event, we require a report by the organization that would rehash and cover some of those details. So yeah, that is baked into the process, a lot of what you're saying, but yeah, very valid.
In part, because of our rules, I actually have to move us along. I'm right at the maximum time that Rules Committee has allowed for me to continue the EFR discussion. The EFR discussion will move into the hands of the VPFA, pending a move to closed session, which is a main motion that I cannot make. Would anybody like to move us into closed session? I'm seeing a motion in a second. We will now move into a scheduled closed session. If you are a person who is inside of our beautiful Zoom room, go ahead and raise your hand so that I can make sure that you get placed into a nice little breakout area. There's not refreshments there, but there's, less dealing with me, so net positive. If you're a person who is not a program representative in the room, I am gonna ask you to very politely leave, if you don't mind. That includes our wonderful presenter, who we very much appreciate. Yes.
We'll let you back in.
Well, yeah, if you wanna come in after, we'll just close the door.
Yeah, we'll just close the door, in all honesty. Imagine if we just locked you out, wouldn't that be wild? Came here, it was like.
It would just be like a cliff ending, like, okay, but what happened?
We will call you back to things. Thank you. with that. And my inability to close doors, we are officially in closed session. For the purposes of note taking, you are gonna see a pause on recording because I do not want things in closed session. And I will open the door and get our EFR presenter. One moment. Yeah, yes, as long as y'all can't be seen discussing and voting, we're good. That vote is yeah, that's a public record. Yeah, sorry. I was like, it needs to be reported outside of closed session. Sorry. That would be so I'm apparently bad at doors and this one is supposed to stop itself. So how I messed that up, more at 11. Okay, so the reporting of the assembly is that the EFR for 1,000 goes 14, yeses 5, noes, 4 people abstaining. Under the rules of the body, this does pass with a majority of the vote. That means that the EFR will be reported out to the Budget and Finance Committee's chair. Hi, Sydney, how are you doing? Did you just catch all that?
Yeah, I'm adding it to my to-do list.
Period, reported, hello. And in addition, as has been said before, I'm just saying it for formality's sake, the Director of Operations in coordination with the VPFA will effectuate that particular item. So thank you so much, Karen. Appreciate you. With that said, we have just 2 more things left on the docket. You're gonna see me disappear and reappear because we have stuff to do, but one second. Of course, I'm having the fix one technical issue and another one just pops up. There we go.
Sorry, micromanage, it's recording again, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No, please micromanage. With that said, we're gonna go ahead and move forward. We got a few more things left. I'm gonna have to get everything back on the screen, so forgive me for just a moment. If it ever lets me do it, there we go. And I'm gonna click the button the right way this time. That way we're not waiting for me to press share. Boom. With that said, the next order of business that we have is going to be a resolution. I want you to pay close attention to the resolutions that we're doing because they are all important items. This is the new GSG 45 R02. It says 10 minutes. It probably won't take 10 minutes. This legislation is a resolution in support of voluntary union recognition. It's a resolution for the Graduate Labor Union. This resolution calls on the University System of Maryland and the University of Maryland College Park to voluntarily recognize and bargain in good faith with the University of Maryland Graduate Labor Union. This is UMDGLU. UAW, which represents graduate assistants and fellows on campus. We open the discussion normally on the resolutions, depending on who the authors of those resolutions are. We definitely have the authors among us. I want to give a moment and a point of privilege to those people if they would like to speak on the resolution. I'll look around. Okay. Seeing none, I will open this floor up for discussion. Do we have any discussion on the resolution that's before us at this time? If you can't see the full text of the bill, just to let you know, we are using tabs in our agenda. Just click the thing that says, sometimes it says action, it normally says document. Go ahead and click that. It'll bring you to the tab that includes the full text of this item. I want to be very clear that this was something that was worked on with committee chairs in UMD, in GSG, for UMD, and glue. Oh my gosh, acronyms. But this is a pretty critical common piece of legislation for purposes of GSG. We pass something like this pretty regularly, so don't let it throw you off by too much that it's on the agenda. With that said, I am opening the floor for discussion. I'm gonna look around. Are there any questions, comments, or items that you would like to bring before the assembly at this time?
Hi, I'm Niyata. I just want to highlight how important it is that, glue gets recognized so that we have more sway in how university operates in the face of the funding cuts that we're going to just, deal with for the next following years.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I do see Nora on. You are more than welcome to speak at this time.
Hi, Nora, epidemiology PhD student. I wrote this. Two folks in the DEI committee sponsored it. Thank you so much. It is basically almost verbatim what we passed unanimously last year and the year before, and perhaps even the year before that. I did add some stuff last year and this year. It is just one avenue to continue to hammer in the point that we need more support than the university is willing to give us.
As this is an agenda item and I have a lot of time, I will ask if there's any other comments while we're in discussion. If not, someone is more than welcome to motion. Yes.
My name is Gabriel, I'm MCH, a PhD student. My contribution to this is, have we sensitized all the graduate students to know about these? And if there are new graduate students who are afraid of joining the labor union because of penalties, how do we approach assuaging their fears so that this can move forward seamlessly with the support of all the graduate students? Thank you.
Nora, as the writer of this legislation, you're more than welcome to speak up if you want me to go ahead and speak. That is also your prerogative. You have the floor.
Can you repeat the question? I didn't quite hear it very well.
Yeah, and please feel free to correct me, but I believe I was speaking to international students and perhaps the safety that they feel in engaging with a movement like this, how we are going about having those conversations and giving a sense of safety.
Yeah, so, are the votes are not public in the, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah,
I have a two-finger, sorry, I'm not clarifying, do you mean sense of safety in voting for this resolution or sense of safety to be involved in the union?
Actually, both.
Both?
Okay, so one of those questions actually will go to me. I'm gonna let Nora finish and then I'll finish up on the procedural side.
I don't know which one goes to you, what?
Answer the question that feels best.
That feels
trust-
best?
Yeah.
The graduate labor union has people on staff that can also respond to retaliation, including lawyers or legal aid, I believe, that can help people that have experienced retaliation related to being involved with glue, because you're technically not allowed to be retaliated against if you are involved with glue. That is a I think law at the university or something, or maybe the state level, I can't remember. But you're not allowed to be retaliated against, and glue has protections for students, or I should say tangible resources for students if you are retaliated against. And I should say with a union, international students will have more protections than they are currently guaranteed now without one.
At a point of absolute direct address. This is something that I've talked with the executive board about because it is a serious procedural concern of mine. Anytime that we vote in a body, I want people to feel like they can voice whatever their concerns are. We have that conversation with our advisors, we have that conversation with administrators, and we continue to have that conversation between each other. I will tell you what I told the e-board and what I would gladly say to anyone at any given point in time, which is I will not let anything hit this floor that will detrimentally impact you or the graduate community. I was elected in part to serve literally just this assembly. I'm not gonna let anything hurt anybody in this room. And unfortunately for everybody involved, everybody on this e-board, very much crappy do. You don't have to worry about your vote, the nature of your vote being kind of cast aside or altogether informing whether or not you should be penalized, especially as an international student. We actively do that. IGSAB is constantly working on that through the International Student Affairs Committee and other coordinated efforts. Keegan is literally talking to administrators about it. I think at this point, like every day, if not every week, to make sure that you have the freedom that you need to speak your mind in these bodies. And to safely participate in whatever sort of demonstration you can outside of this body. My keyword is safety. My job hinges on that. There's not a world where I am gonna take a risk that is going to hurt the general population, and the e-board sees everything that we do agenda-wise, as does the rules committee. So just a big overarching statement, which is to say, if you're worried about it, come talk to us, keep that conversation going. We are gonna do our best to advocate for you. Yes.
I'll just add two pieces of context. The first is, to be clear, this is just a statement that says we as a body support Glue's existence and the role they're hoping to take. This is not us signing up for Glue. This is not voting for this, is not becoming a member of Glue. We are not Glue. Glue is not us. There are members of Glue who are also representatives, but they're not the same organization. So this is just a statement of support. This is also a statement of support that has been passed in some capacity or another since 2006. So this is not a new thing. This will not put a target on your back because it hasn't for the last 20 years.
With that said, I'm gonna do something very annoying to everybody in the room, and just tell you that the DOO is absolutely empowered to kick me out of this space the second that we lose it, so I'm gonna press us along. If Lizzie comes up here, it's over for me. The weave in my head will get snatched, and I don't wanna do that. It's rubber bands and glue at this point. So if there are any questions, comments, or concerns, I'll definitely hear them out. Nora, I believe you had your hand up. Go ahead.
If no one else has any other questions, I would like to move to a vote.
I have a motion on the floor for a vote. Any seconds? I am seeing seconds across the room. Woof, so many seconds, actually. I think we'll be perfectly fine getting through this one. So let's go ahead and make sure, give me just one moment. That I got that Mentimeter. The Mentimeter is gonna go back one. It's the only time that you're gonna see it go back one because I don't wanna actually have to deal with the outcome there. The Mentimeter is going to say R02. That's the number and letter combination at the end of the GSG 45 that you are looking for. Your yes is in support of the resolution, your nay is in not supporting the resolution. I don't know why my brain decided to stop there, and of course you can vote present. Y'all, did y'all love to watch my brain freeze right there? Honestly, it's all the entertainment I can give you, given that we are so close to time. Next time I promise I'll bring I'll bring some bowling pins and try to do a little bit of juggling.
I was thinking the monkey with the symbols.
The monkey with I could do that. Oh, if I bring the bird, it's over. I'm not about to have y'all hearing him cuss you out in my voice. Absolutely not.
Is the bird not a good flyer?
Huh?
It's like, cause you take a plane.
Oh, yeah.
Does the bird not like to fly?
I really wish that the bird liked to fly. He only likes to cuss me out. Yeah,
That's
a real
real
no.
bird. Yeah.
But I raised him like that. Yes.
I have a motion to bring in that bird.
Yeah.
And to be recorded and posted on Instagram for better reachability.
That would work.
Unfortunately, it would work. And I am just gonna say that because of no motions on the table, I'm gonna eschew that for just a brief moment. If you wanna make that motion later, that's your business. We got, oh, I'm seeing blackjack right there, and we're right at time. It's looking like 20 yeses and one person voting present. With that said, GSGA 45R02 passes. It actually goes to the executive board for review by the president. The president effectuates our resolutions. If there are any questions, comments, or concerns on that front, let me know. With that said, we only have 4 minutes left. Because budget.
So sorry.
No, it was inevitable. Y'all are probably wondering why I put that extra 30 minutes on. Exactly the reason. But I digress. The last thing that I want to do is draw your attention directly to the agenda. Like I said, we have tabs. If you weren't able to scroll over and see tabs, just make sure you click that every once in a while. I give you everything. I give you all of the things. But the last thing on the agenda, which this is a combined action that we don't need to move into, thankfully, which is committee charges and announcements, open forum. So this is, hey, if you have something that you want us to work on off of the floor, now's the time to bring it up as a motion. If you want the committees to work on something, if you want GSG to work on something, now's the time to bring it up. It's how we use our last few minutes. Are there any questions, comments, concerns, issues that we want to bring up?
There's. Sorry. Came up when it was too late for me to get a resolution out. So we sit with Dot on a committee, and I just need to get the general pulse on how you feel about fees next year, because we'll be voting on them before our next meeting. So right now, Dot is trying to increase its mandatory fee by $14 for full-time students and $7 for part-time students. They do say they might increase service. I just wanted to get a general pulse of the room before I vote yes or no. I kind of think I know what's gonna happen, but
On the other vote, so.
yeah, both me and Keegan will vote. So if you guys
like it or not, please
You didn't
let
tell us to split
us know. Yeah, we'll split it, yeah.
With that said, I'm also messaging as
So
Liz.
maybe just a show of hands.
Yeah.
Who supports that?
So is
Okay.
there any opposition?
Who doesn't, who does not want that to increase the fee that much? Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely, I'm gonna just be loud because at this point I'm right here. We definitely will have more conversations about fee increases. As Sydney has said, it is fee setting season. So you will hear from Sydney a lot. Be prepared for it and like check out anything that I'm doing. If I'm sending you something and it's an agenda, them links tell a story. You see 1 or 2 links, that's one thing. You see 12 links, just come in and know that I have begged for snacks and we've had like a whole conversation of ways to get you into the space. And when we're zooming, I'm trying to zoom. Here's a quick note on my front. Yes.
I was gonna say, we're gonna see all the rest of the fees discussed in the December. So, yeah,
This is gonna.
that one is not changing,
Quick
because
point
that
of
was
note.
not under our purview.
I'm sorry.
Quick point of note.
Yeah.
Quick point of note. Thanks. Craig Allen Wolcott, Policy Program Representative. I just wanted to make sure you know that since I'm dialed in by phone, I've been participating. I've also been sending my support for the proposals mentioned to Ivy, as discussed. I just wanted to let you know. I'm sorry I can't vote online today.
No, you're perfectly fine. We really appreciate it. And do you mind? Do you have anything else?
Do you want it? No.
Oh no, I'm boom 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 bass. I'm good. Okay, here's the.
And then,
Yeah.
sorry, just so you know, at some point in January, February, probably February, I'd be honored to provide a quick introduction of myself, my professional goals, and get you familiar with who I am in school policy as program representative. I'd be happy to speak to that. I just wanted to make sure I noted this since I wasn't able to join in person today. I look forward to meeting you all in person soon. Thanks.
Yes, and I hope that everybody is down for meeting regularly, however we can. Here are my quick notes because I gotta do them in 60 seconds, otherwise I gotta ask for more time. TLDR, expect more information about December to come quickly. I am gonna be, as Rules Committee knows, working ahead. I'm gonna try and keep all of the assembly agendas about a month ahead, so you will hear from me with way more time. 2, know that I'm going to be constructing some charges out of what comes out of the executive board and the leadership committee. That means that if you are not on a committee or you are on a committee, you should prepare for work to be done. Whatever that work looks like, I mean it. 3rd and finally, the Legislative Affairs Committee gave you a memo today that was supposed to be the guidance for Rosa Pep. That will continue. We will bring that over into the next meeting. You won't lose any of that information. What will happen is LAC might have additional information for you as we construct some proposals to get to budget and the executive board about our legislative actions for the upcoming semester. With that said, are there any moves to adjourn the meeting at this time? Oh my gosh, all the motions in the world, any seconds? Golly gee willikers, it looks like motions for
Second.
that second work it. I love it.
Second.
I love to hear it. I love to see it. With that said, the meeting is officially adjourned for November. We will see you in. Thank you much.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yeah. Place like food, I underestimated how big these are gonna be.
Well, let's say you didn't underestimate. We had a
Don't-
person.
Heavy.
Do you have attendance?